Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, taking a listener request from Angel Death Heart 619. Can you do analytics on Kayvon Webster, please? Sure, I could do a video on Kayvon Webster. Of course, as many of you know, terms will be in the description. So if you're new to the channel, just go to the description. I kind of just basically put my terms and definitions there, so when I talk about something and you don't know what it is, this will give you sort of somewhat of a perspective for what that means. So starting with Kayvon Webster when it comes to production out of college, when you look at his production, he had a 97.85 solo tackle market share score and a 51.21 pass deflection market share score. Based on the data since, of course, this is data since 1989. He pretty much hits the solo tackle market share score that is indicative of a high quality NFL cornerback. Basically hits the bottom end threshold, above the bottom end threshold of All-Pro and Pro Bowl. But his pass deflection market share is really where all the issues start to happen. He doesn't hit the minimum threshold in terms of All-Pro potential, and he does hit above the bottom end threshold when it comes to pass deflection market share. But again, that pass deflection market share score right there is because Antonio Cromartie, and Antonio Cromartie is, injury. Like basically he was a guy who was mainly a backup, became a starter, and then he was injured, and then he just declared for the NFL. So a very special case, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And then when you actually look at the averages, this is where things become a little bit more issues for him. Is that he definitely had above average solo tackle data, above average what the averages are in terms of solo tackle data for Pro Bowl and All-Pro types. But he doesn't hit the averages when it comes to pass deflection data. As you can clearly see, the average for All-Pro is 78.34, and the average for Pro Bowl is 70.71. And this is multiple All-Pro, multiple Pro Bowl data production. So Kayvon Webster, based on all this sort of stuff, looked more like a long-term starting cornerback, potentially, than a All-Pro or Pro Bowl type. Then when you get to his athleticism traits, he had a 74.98 explosive or body strength score, 98.38 speed score, and 86.74 flexibility score. Very close to having all-pro athleticism traits. I mean, he pretty much hit speed data where he needed to hit, flexibility data where he needed to hit, and his explosive data was close enough. I mean, 74.98 versus 76.02. You're talking about a 0.104 difference in terms of potential. So I would say that based on athleticism, he definitely has all-pro athleticism traits. But again, his production doesn't match up with All-Pro or even Pro Bowl when it comes to the averages in terms of his pass deflection data. And many times, cornerbacks that are like this, that have this pass deflection disparity, they have like high solo tackle and high pass deflection, either they are safeties or become safeties, or they are cornerbacks who just don't really do well tracking the football. And in a sport like football, where tracking the football and making plays with the football is a big deal, that can be kind of frustrating for coaches. So, which may explain his actual NFL production. Again, this is based on all the times he was actually able to start. In 2013 was his best season, had a total impact score of a 54.09 out of 100, which is above average in terms of every single quarterback in the NFL who registered enough statistics to qualify. He was above average. And funny enough, solo tackles was better than interceptions. 2015 below average. 2016 barely registered much. Again, he didn't do a minimum amount of stuff to qualify. But you get the picture. I mean, Kayvon Webster just has not been starting, has not been given a lot of opportunities to really do much, and that kind of impacts this sort of stuff. So ultimately, I mean, what can be said about him? I mean, he has the athleticism traits of a special cornerback. If you just look at his production data and you look at his athleticism data, this would be somebody that would be identified as a potential long-term starting cornerback, not necessarily a potential Pro Bowl cornerback. Because, again, potential Pro Bowl cornerbacks, typically speaking, above average pass deflection, above average solo tackle. And when you have a disconnect there, you're looking at a guy who's more so a long-term starter than anything else like that. And it is a little disappointing that he hasn't become a long-term starter. But then again, when you look at the situation, it's the Denver Broncos. They have Aqib Talib, who had a terrific overall profile. Chris Harris, of course, had a terrific overall profile. So maybe this is just a thing that he might go to another team and become a long-term starter and start performing a little bit better. I can't really answer that. All I can really say is that the only real negative in his profile was his pass deflection data. And so far, that red flag is kind of carried over to the NFL and could be one of the reasons why he hasn't really become a long-term starter at this point in his career. Because we're 4 years in and he just hasn't become that sort of thing. So again, my name is James Coburn. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.